order the October 10th, 2023 San Diego County Board of Supervisors regular meeting to order. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land we call home. There are communities in the San Diego region that face unjust conditions and circumstances related to the environments in which they live. The tribal nations of the San Diego region are an example of one community that has historically faced such injustices. We acknowledge the harmony that existed between the land, nature, and its original peoples, who have since endured displacement, persecution, and systemic oppression. We pay respect to the unceded territory and homelands of the 18 tribal nations in our region, the most in any county in the United States, from 4 cultural groups, the Kumeyaay, the Igueño, the Luiseño, the Cupeño, and the Kumeyaay. We aspire to learn from the indigenous traditional knowledge and experiences, undoing the injustice of the past. With that, Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. I'd like to note that Supervisor Desmond is absent today. With that, I'll now call the roll. Supervisor Anderson.
Here.
Vice Chair Lawson-Remer.
Here.
Chairwoman Vargas.
Vargas here. We will now have Reverend Caleb Lyons deliver the invocation, and following the invocation, Courtney Coffin will deliver the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge.
Good morning, Chair Vargas, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, supervisors and citizens. I come to you on behalf of University Christian Church in Hillcrest. Thank you for the important work that you're doing. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you this morning. I invite everyone to find a quiet place to be with that source of grounding for you, whatever that may be. And I invite us all to take a deep breath in and out, and center ourselves in this moment and in this place. For whenever we gather here, we have an opportunity, a chance to find common ground and make our neighborhoods, our cities, our county, and indeed our world a bit better. Through our words, our actions, our votes, our laws, we can make a difference. We can reach out to one another and create a better society. Idealistic perhaps, but possible. There are challenges to be sure, but when we're at our best, we can model cooperation, compassion, and great care for one another. There's an opportunity to do right unto others and to this earth. As such, especially since yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day, we recognize the Kumeyaay land on which we stand this morning. And on National Coming Out Day, which is tomorrow, we give thanks for the full spectrum of sexual orientations and gender identities, and ask that we might all recognize the inherent worth and dignity in each and every person. We give thanks for this Board of Supervisors, their willingness to lead, and ask that this might be a time where those in greatest need are on our minds. We lift up those in our county living in poverty, those experiencing homelessness, those who wait as migrants at our border, those who have felt marginalized, and we ask that this might be a time where all those who are the most in need weigh heaviest on our hearts. We, human beings and earth, are all connected and dependent upon one another for mutual care. Perhaps U.S. Poet Laureate Ada Limon said it best when she said, "Here it is, the new way of living with the world inside of us so that we cannot lose it and we cannot be lost. You and me are us and them and it and sky." To paraphrase her, we are all connected. May we love one another enough to make this world better with each moment that we are privileged to have, and with each breath that we take and each action we make. May it be so. Amen.
Good morning. I'll be leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Coffin, and thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and proceed with the proclamations and awards. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is a wonderful day to celebrate National Co-op Month in San Diego County. I'm going to ask the folks, Kim Frink, the board president of Suncoast Market, and the rest of the folks to come up here. Come on. How are you doing? You can come up here. So good to have you here. All right. So today is a wonderful day to celebrate. It's so good to see so many beautiful faces here this morning, familiar faces. It's a wonderful day to celebrate National Co-op Month in San Diego County. It's an opportunity for us to acknowledge and appreciate the remarkable contributions of our local food cooperatives. These cooperatives play a crucial role in promoting access to healthy, sustainable, and locally sourced food options for our communities. From urban gardens to farmers markets, they empower individuals to make informed choices about the food they consume while also supporting local farmers and producers. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the dedicated staff, volunteers, and members of our local food cooperatives. Today, I am super honored to have the presence of the amazing folks from Suncoast Markets who are with us today. During this National Cooperative Month, it brings me great pleasure to honor South Coast Market as a shining example of the positive impact that cooperatives can have on our community. Suncoast Market is in Imperial Beach, which is in my district, and they have really strengthened the local economy and empowered individuals to thrive and succeed. They have shown us the power of collaboration in addressing the challenges, finding innovative solutions, and creating a more sustainable and inclusive future for everyone. Let Suncoast Market's success inspire all of us to support and engage with local food cooperatives. And everybody should become a member, huh? And whether it's becoming a member, volunteering, or simply shopping at their stores, every action counts. I know that together we can build a more sustainable, resilient, and inclusive food system in San Diego County. So it is my honor today to proclaim by myself and all the members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 10th day of October 2023, to commend South Coast Market for the outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the citizens of San Diego County, and do hereby declare this month to be National Co-op Month throughout San Diego County. So here you go.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Chairwoman Vargas and Supervisors Desmond and Lawson-Remer, for this honor on behalf of Suncoast Board of Directors and our 1,100 member owners. And I'm here with two of our other board members, Shirley Soth and Bev Florence. We are all volunteer board members. Consumer cooperatives, like Suncoast, are formed when there's a need in the community that isn't being met by the public or private sectors, and residents come together to collectively create their own solution. In Imperial Beach and neighboring communities, there is a need for better access to fresh, nutritious, and locally grown food. So we are creating a community-owned and governed grocery store where the focus is not on maximizing profits, but on promoting community health, reducing our carbon footprint, and creating wealth by helping our local businesses and farms to thrive. With the ongoing sewage crisis and several local businesses closing, people in Imperial Beach are feeling somewhat disheartened right now. But with the support from the county and others, we will be able to open the South Region's first cooperative grocery store in 2024 and serve as a model for other communities. Thank you very much for this recognition and your support. Thank you. Yes.
All right. The next proclamation, Supervisor Vice Chair Lawson Remer and I get to honor the 2023-2024 Teacher of the Year. And accepting the proclamation will be Dr. Paul Guth. Paul, I always mess up your name. I'm so sorry. My apologies. I just call you Paul. Anytime we get to honor teachers is super, super, super cool. So I come from a family of teachers, so I think they're like the most amazing people. So we're going to go.
Sure. Thank you all so much for being here. We're here to celebrate the outstanding educators who have been named as San Diego County Teachers of the Year. These dedicated professionals have been identified as the best of their profession, recognized for their excellence by their peers, district and county administrators, and parent-teacher association representatives. To earn this accolade is an incredible achievement. These 5 Teachers of the Year were selected from a group of 44 exceptional teachers who were nominated by their school districts, 5 out of more than 24,000 teachers currently working throughout our county. And true to the selfless nature of their profession, you're unlikely to hear our Teachers of the Year brag or call extra attention to this individual achievement. But it is an amazing accomplishment and one we are so proud to recognize today. I'm very hopeful that my daughter, who will be entering kindergarten next year, has the opportunity to work with an amazing teacher. In honoring our Teachers of the Year, we are also celebrating all teachers. We acknowledge the sacrifices they make, the long hours they put in, and the unwavering dedication they show. We recognize that they're not just educators, they are mentors, role models, and champions of hope. Teachers guide young minds and inspire the leaders, thinkers, and dreamers of tomorrow. And the impact of a great teacher extends far beyond the classroom. By providing our children with the tools and skills they need to navigate a complex and ever-changing world, they help build the foundation upon which our society stands. To our Teachers of the Year, thank you for your incredible contributions. And to all teachers, thank you for your tireless dedication. Your work enriches all of our lives in immeasurable ways, and we are so grateful. My colleague, Chairwoman Vargas, will now share a few words.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So today, I'm really excited to be standing here with you with immense pride and joy as we come together to celebrate and honor San Diego Teachers of the Year, as my colleague has stated. As they say, it takes a village to educate our children, and our teachers are at the very heart of that village. In San Diego County, we are very fortunate to have an incredible community of educators who tirelessly devote themselves to the betterment of our children's lives. These teachers are at the heart and soul of our educational system, and they play a pivotal role in shaping the future of our county, state, and our nation. Let us remember that education is the foundation upon which the future of our county is built. It is the investment that pays dividends for generations to come. Our teachers are the architects of that future, and today we salute their unwavering commitment, passion, and dedication to our students and our community. It is truly a momentous occasion, and I am deeply honored to be here as your chairwoman at the County of San Diego to convey this proclamation. So today, be it proclaimed by myself and my colleagues at the San Diego County Board of Supervisors that the 10th day of October 2023, we commend the 2023-24 San Diego County Teachers of the Year for their outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the citizens of San Diego County, and do hereby declare this day 2023-2024 San Diego County Teachers of the Year through San Diego County. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Paul, Superintendent of the San Diego County Office of Education, to say a couple of words. Here you go, sir.
Thank you, Chair Vargas, Vice Chair Lawson Remer, and members of the Board of Supervisors. It's such an honor and privilege to be here today to recognize these amazing teachers. The County Office of Education is deeply proud to support 42 districts, 131 charter schools, and what we call the 43rd District, which is our own schools, Monarch, San Pasqual Academy, our juvenile courts, community schools, roughly 23 schools across this county with the students with highest needs. And really what we want to do for this region, and what we've set this incredibly ambitious goal over the next 7 years, is to reduce the number of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch from 51% to 35%. And that is an ambitious goal, but we believe public education is the gateway to social mobility, and we also truly believe that our students and families deserve to thrive and not just survive. Part of the way we get there is through transformational teaching and learning within our schools, and the teachers that you are recognizing today are an exemplary example of what our students need and deserve throughout our communities. Out of our county's 23,000 public school teachers, again, a dozen's applied. The 5 that they're recognizing today not only do whatever it takes to support our students, but go above and beyond to support them every day as well. And so behind me, we have 3 here today. Courtney Kopfin teaches special education and life skills in grades 9 through 12. At Orange Glen High School in the Escondido Union High School District. Next, we have Amanda Ford, who teaches 7th grade at the Flying Hills School of Arts in Cajon Valley School District. And also we have today Wendy Threet, who teaches 4th grade, Felicia Elementary in Escondido Union School District. 2 of our honorees could not be with us today, and we want to recognize them. Melanie Villanueva previously taught 8th grade science at Hilltop Middle School, is now a teacher on special assignment in the Sweetwater Union High School District. Christina Bass teaches 3rd grade at Painted Rock Elementary School in the Poway Unified School District. Please give those 2 outstanding teachers a round of applause. And our 5 Teachers of the Year are now running to be named California Teacher of the Year, so best of luck to all of them. Again, I want to congratulate all of our nominees and our award recipients. If you want to learn more about these outstanding teachers, I invite you to watch Salute to Teachers, produced by Cox Communication in partnership with the San Diego County Office of Education and the San Diego County Credit Union. It airs every Sunday evening through December on the YourView Network. I want to again thank you to the board, particularly Chair Vargas, Vice Chair Lawson Reamer, and on behalf of the Board of Education, the San Diego County Office of Education, deeply appreciative for honoring these outstanding teachers today. Thank you so much.
All right, the next proclamation will be given by Vice Chair Lawson Reamer, honoring Interfaith Community Services, and accepting the proclamation will be Greg Angel.
Come on up here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you. So today our board will take a big vote on diversion, something I believe can be one of our most powerful tools to tackle homelessness. Diversion is an evidence-based practice with a proven success record in helping people stay housed and off the streets. The concept of diversion is simple. It's easier, cheaper, and more effective to help our neighbors before they fall into chronic homelessness. Diversion has already helped nearly 2,000 people in our region avoid homelessness. That's nearly 2,000 people who have been able to stay housed instead of living in shelters on our streets, in canyons, or in their cars. And 85% of those who have been helped remain stably housed. But these positive changes don't just happen by themselves. It takes the coordinated efforts of a committed government and community partners. One of these partners who has made a tremendous impact in our county is Interfaith Community Services. Interfaith was established in 1979 when local leaders from diverse faiths came together for the first time. They joined forces with the belief that they could better serve their communities by working together with the shared goal of improving outcomes for all of their neighbors here in San Diego County. The good folks at Interfaith understand that no two people experience the same hardships in life, and when people invariably run into difficult circumstances and need help along the way, Interfaith is there with things like nutritious meals, emergency shelter and housing, substance use treatment and recovery, a hot shower, a place to do laundry, and even vocational training to find work. For these efforts, I say thank you to everyone at Interfaith Community Services, and on behalf of the entire San Diego County Board of Supervisors, I commend Interfaith Community Services for the outstanding commitment to diversion and the well-being of county residents, and hereby do declare this 10th day of October 2023 to be Homeless Diversion Day throughout San Diego County. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Lawson-Remer. We're honored to accept this today and really give thanks and praise to the individuals who experience and overcome homelessness every single day in our communities. Their strength and their resilience is inspiring, and I'm honored today to be joined by my colleagues doing this work every day, helping individuals avoid and overcome homelessness. The diversion programs that Supervisor Lawson-Remer spoke about last year made a tremendous impact through the work that we do at Interfaith Community Services. One of the individuals who was helped through this program is a young lady who spent her entire teenage years being trafficked. And when she came to Interfaith Community Services, she was couch surfing, moving through the work that she was doing to recover and rebuild her life as a survivor of human trafficking. Homeless, unemployed, and traumatized, our interfaith team helped her to gain employment, and then with the help of the diversion program that we're here to share about today, she was able to move into an apartment of her own, where she remains gainfully employed, self-reliant, having avoided the further traumas of chronic homelessness that could have fallen upon her had a program like this not been available. She was one of 100 individuals who our interfaith colleagues moved out of homelessness into housing through diversion programs this last year. And there's opportunity to significantly scale this proven effective model. We want to thank the County of San Diego for their investment in these programs, philanthropic partners for investing to scale, and I want to thank our team who's here today for doing this work every day. Thank you.
We will now proceed with non-agenda public communications. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on subject matters within the board's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's agenda. The only action that the board may take is a referral to the Chief Administrative Officer. Reminder, according to Rule 4A, members of the public that are non-English speaking and need interpretation assistance will get twice the allotted time for their comments, which is 4 minutes. As a reminder, according to the board rules and procedures, audience members should not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or anything that disrupts the proceedings. To better facilitate the meetings, we'll have 5 speakers in person and 5 speakers via phone, and the rest on non-agenda public communications we heard at the close of today's meeting. Clerk, please call the speakers.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. We have 15 requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, 9 in person, and 6 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. As the Chairwoman indicated, we'll be calling the first 5 speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board, and I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. I'd like to invite forward Michael Brando, Mark, Joy Briers, Charles Evans, and Adam Mortera. If I've called your name, please come forward. You may come forward in any order.
Mark, kindergarten, Tara? I am not right or left. When I was raised in Pacific Beach, 5-year-old boys and girls walked to kindergarten alone because the evil social engineering of our Western world was early then. C. Yuri Bezmenov warned people about the plan to demoralize, destabilize, crisis, and normalization of America the globalists have used. All the hellish homelessness and poverty were warned against in Thomas Jefferson's quote, "If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered," end quote. And now you are seeing it happening. You are in a real emergency, and this evil government gives me little time. See these YouTube video titles to understand how only you, the people, can join together to stop this tyranny the government is imposing. See Zeitgeist from 6 minutes and 40 seconds to 24 minutes, this title. See the Rosa Corey video from 3 minutes and 30 seconds. See Goodbye American Sovereignty from 3 minutes to 6 minutes. And Corporation Nation is much longer. They've collected taxes and invested in businesses and corporations, which is fascist, for about 100 years now, and they've stolen it from you. The American people own this. You've paid for this with your taxes, all these corporations they've invested in, but they're never going to share it with you. If people understand these videos and talk to each other, we can change this and stop this total tyranny. There isn't much time left. The globalists are totally taking over. You better pay attention and see these vids.
Your next speaker, please.
My name is Adam Mortera. I'm the Executive Director of the Juvenile Justice Advocates of California. Thank you, supervisors, for hearing me. I'd like to read a letter from a young man named Raimundo Ortega Hernandez. We provide rehabilitative programs for youth in all 5 districts. Our office address is located in District Number 1. Last fiscal budget, we received funding from Lawson Reamer District 3, which we're very grateful for. We asked the youth that we work with how our programs are helping them and how it would affect them if the programs were to cease. In the words of Mr. Hernandez, "Dear County Board of Supervisors, my life was forever changed when I found myself staring at the same 4 walls for the past 3 months with more to come. Growing up, I would have never thought I'd end up behind closed doors at this point in my life. My biggest fear growing up was being abandoned. I hate the feeling of being left, especially alone. I've had to deal with this feeling every day since I've been in detention. JJAC program has taught me patience, creativity, and how to make smarter and more fulfilling decisions. The advocates for this program are extremely helpful and committed to help us as a whole. They respect, assist, and fight for me and my peers. Again, finding myself in a detention center was the last place I seen myself in, but the wrongful actions that took place one day ended up with me in here. JJAC has helped me learn and grow. It would mean the world to me and others for the funding needed for this program. I know my voice may not be the loudest to all of you due to where I am. I may be looked down on, but for what it's worth, here is my voice. We know that you hear us. We know that you see us, Supervisor Vargas, and we submitted grant requests in all 5 districts, and we would greatly appreciate it if we could receive support to continue working with our youth in detention facilities who've experienced trauma, as well as in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. I'll remind the speakers that the board's rules of procedure do not allow clapping. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Charles Evans II, current resident of Fresno County. I'm here to make a report of an ongoing threat of child abuse against my 2.5-month-old granddaughter, Lucille, who's here today in good health. And I'm also going to, later on, file a claim for damages at the appropriate room. So in regards to the child abuse, on Wednesday, September 13th, 2023, Department N09, there was an alternate judge, we'll say Judge A, who made orders that include the following. Child is detained to the custody of the maternal grandmother, my wife, Nicole, pursuant to Welfare Institutions Code 361.4B6. Also, order included the child and maternal grandmother will reside in Fresno, California. Fast forward, Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, Department N09. The presiding judge, we'll say Judge B, made orders that included the following. Bizarre. Mr. Charles Evans II must apply for funding as directed by county council and social workers. County council and social workers have full discretion to remove Lucille for noncompliance. And she said I can get a copy of the minute order, redacted, of course. So I'm not aware of any state law that requires me to apply for state or federal funding when a child is detained according to the state law. Final point, if I may go over a second. If they do have such a law, what I don't want to see happen is law enforcement action at our residents in Fresno.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Again, I'll remind members of the audience that clapping is prohibited.
Dr. McDonald, could you have someone from the staff assist her immediately? Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you. We'll resume the non-agenda public comment. Let's invite forward Joy Briers and Michael Brando.
Good morning. My name is Joy Briers, and I am a proud SEIU Local 221 member, and I've worked for the county for 65 months. I currently work in the Treasurer Tax Collector's Office, and this month we will have to choose our health care coverage, and it is one of the most toughest benefit choices myself and many county employees have to make. Kaiser is set to increase our health care costs by almost 15%. for myself, for someone you know, and maybe a loved one, and maybe even yourself. That is why I'm standing here today with the names of more than 1,000 county coworkers and providers of vital county services on this petition. We are asking you to give us relief from the Kaiser price hike. And personally, I am the sole provider for my family. I'm dependent on my income to make choices, which impacts the choices I'm going to be making in the coming year, the unsure year. Kaiser is supposed to be a nonprofit, and right now it doesn't seem to be acting like one. Kaiser's CEO makes more than $17 million a year. And that is $17 million. Last week, we saw many of its employees go on strike because of a patient care crisis. And we are calling on you to increase our flex credit by 9.3% on January 1st to prevent an increase in our health costs, which amounts to a pay cut for most of us, maybe even you or a loved one, maybe even yourself. And as we were unable to submit these to all the supervisors this morning, I would like to submit the petitions with over 1,000 signatures, as I mentioned earlier, to the clerk for Chairwoman Vargas' office and for Supervisor Desmond. Thank you for your time and for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you. Hear from the next speaker.
Michael, since we no longer get a COVID update, COVID propaganda update, I thought I'd bring one here to the lectern this morning. I was looking through the San Diego Union Tribune today, and there's a little article that says, COVID cards going away. Now, I read this, and it just made it sound like, oh, all these injections, yeah, we didn't need to do that. We don't need to track all that. You can just get rid of your COVID cards. Number two, AB 2098, Gavin Newsom, he just nullified AB 2098. That was the law that said doctors had very, very thin parameters, that they could not speak to COVID outside any official narrative. They also could not say anything negative about the bioweapon serum injections. Many doctors actually left the state because of that. And then on the county website, we see that the Centers for Disease Control is building a new public health lab. And I got to see you, Eric McDonald, and you, Nora, and Wilma Wooten doing the groundbreaking. I guess you're getting well paid for pushing this satanic agenda you did based on fake science. I'm really stunned at the behavior of Eric McDonald back here. He was actually like a robot when that woman was experiencing a traumatic breakdown, as if he was acting out an agenda from a textbook.
I'm going to ask you to stay here.
I am speaking on this agenda item.
Comments, please refrain from speaking.
No, I will speak about this person because he's being paid by county people.
Please, otherwise I'm going to inform you.
You haven't stopped my time, Nora.
You are not.
Nora, you have not stopped my time. You are violating the Brown Act, Nora. I see you smirking. You've got the narcissistic smirk on. Yeah. You did not, you interrupted me. You did not stop my time. This is what we've been speaking about, the psychology of totalitarianism. Nora Vargas.
All right. Here we go. We're going to start off this meeting right today. It is exactly 9:57 a.m. And I'm going to make it very clear. Your comments have to be specific to the items on the agenda. We have a very full agenda. This is your second warning. This is your second warning. You're disrupting the meeting. Consuelo, this is your first warning. You're disrupting the meeting. I will ask you to leave the meeting if you continue with your nonsense. This is a public meeting. We have a lot of items on the agenda. I will not tolerate your nonsense. You understand? You have 2 warnings. You have 2 warnings. I'm done. Go ahead.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll start with our first caller.
Barbara Gordon. Thank you for letting me speak this morning. Nationwide, October is Youth Substance Use Prevention Month. Youth substance use is associated with increased risk for delinquency, academic failure, perpetuating or experiencing violence, or mental health problems, according to the U.S. Department of Public and Human Services. Providing or delaying substance use among youth reduces the risk for substance use and overdose. Substance use is common among U.S. high school students. 1/3 of students reported current use of alcohol, marijuana, or prescription opiate misuse. In 2022, more than 3 million middle and high school students reported using tobacco products, and 11% of 8th graders reported use of marijuana. Substance use trends in the U.S. have changed in recent years, especially with the regulatory landscape of marijuana. There's also been an increase in availability of fentanyl, misuse of prescription drugs, e-cigarettes, and vaping products. If the county prioritizes marijuana businesses, you will be ignoring the risk factors such as perceived acceptability, availability, and favorable attitudes towards marijuana use. We must do more to enact protective factors that buffer and educate young people about the harms of substance abuse and the addictive nature, especially with marijuana. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Terry Ann Skelly. I'm a mother of 3 adult sons, a community volunteer with youth programs, and I also work in public health education. My county planning group finds it disheartening that some of the supervisors appear to push marijuana businesses on us, whether we want them or not. Parents feel almost defenseless against the pot advertising and promotions that are part of the big marijuana package. We feel that the risks of today's high-potency THC marijuana products are being ignored, especially when the research continues to come in linking these high-potency THC marijuana products to devastating effects on our youth's mental health. Several national parent groups are collecting and sharing their stories regarding the loss of their children. Young and vibrant lives ended by suicide after their descent into addiction through high-potency marijuana vapes and edibles. Parents are concerned that the opioid misuse epidemic occurred because the parents' voices were ignored, and it's happening again today. As a parent, I ask the Board of Supervisors not to be too late again. Parents want you to know that this is not the time to enable more marijuana businesses in the county. Hopefully, the supervisors can be counted on among those trusted adults and healthcare professionals who are concerned about the harmful effects of marijuana on our children, our teenagers, and our emerging adults. Thank you for hearing my concern this morning.
We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Becky Rath, and today I'd like to share with you some important information presented by the county last week at the San Diego Economic Development and Intergovernmental Relations Committee in the city of San Diego. The presentation described the challenges the county is facing in regard to the vast number of individuals suffering from mental health challenges and how it correlates to those who use drugs. The presentation described how the county is planning to switch its paradigm from goals focused on crisis services to goals focused on prevention efforts, something parents and those of us working on prevention are very appreciative of. According to the May 2023 SANDAG survey results, titled Mental Health Issues Among San Diego County Arrestees. 40% of arrestees interviewed had been diagnosed with a mental or psychiatric disorder. And of those reporting, 45 tested positive for a drug as well as reported having a psychotic episode. I'd also like to remind you of the statistics. Our county medical examiner, as he has stated that 39% of completed suicides under the age of 25 tested positive for THC. THC today is a synthetically derived substance proven to have levels of 95% in most common products such as vapes, waxes, and edibles. I ask you to please contemplate this shift in paradigm. Perhaps this board could reconsider the aggressive approach you're taking in increasing the marijuana footprint in our backcountry. It seems counterproductive as these highly concentrated THC products being sold and consumed are directly linked to mental health consequences, especially with our youth. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good morning. Thank you. Peggy Walker. I'm a public health educator. At a recent town hall, Supervisor Lawson Reamer, I had the opportunity to hear you call mental health and homelessness this board's two main focus areas. A good thing. You called big investment in behavioral health and cited statistics that 50% of homeless have mental health or addiction issues. In light of this, like the others, I find that it defies logic, and I do not understand why, at the same time, you're supporting expansion of the marijuana industry when marijuana is a known gateway and addictive drug. You emphasize the importance of evidence and data-driven policy, yet there's no data, none, to show marijuana expansion is needed, wanted, or beneficial. There's plenty of scientific data, however, showing THC proven to cause serious health effects and psychotic disorders, from heart and lung disease, pregnancy complications, and circulatory issues, even testicular cancer and autism, to psychosis, schizophrenia, and violence. You said, we have the right to a clean, healthy environment. Shouldn't that mean freedom from addictive drugs in our neighborhoods, from marijuana-related DUIs, violence, and suicide due to unprecedented THC potency, from toxic secondhand marijuana smoke and its health and environment-destroying effects? If this board is really passionate about mental health, homelessness, and addiction, then act on behalf of residents. Stop plan to force marijuana expansion into rural communities where it is not wanted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the final caller this morning.
I'm Richard Golden. Good morning, Board. The COVID pandemic is not over. We are now in a stage of economic and public health devastation, which is a result of letting it rip or learn to live with the virus. People cannot work or function with organ damage and immune system damage from COVID, aka long COVID. The only way to prevent long COVID is to prevent infections. Some counties have brought back indoor masking. I propose that this county bring back case investigations on all cases, but make them 5 minutes and the 12 questions that we need to know, not the other administrative information. We need to do these to have data on how good hybrid immunity is, and if Novavax is truly better and more durable than the mRNA vaccines, and how reliable are these at-home tests, especially on days 0 through 5. These investigations must include at-home tests. They should be phone calls and not online self-reports, but if the county wants to do it, they could modify and partner with NIH's Report Your Test website. The only way we can make COVID become endemic is to reduce the current prevalence that we have by over 95%. We can do that with some simple steps. The vaccine-only approach and ignore the virus strategy has failed. I urge you to bring back 5-minute mini case investigations. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning. Again, all the remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session.
Wonderful. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the minute statements and proceedings for regular Board of Supervisors meeting of September 26, 2023. Is there a motion to approve? Second? I'll second it. Please vote.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
All right, we will now proceed with the formation of our consent calendars. Items 1 to 10, members of the public will now be able to comment on the consent calendar after the supervisors pull the items they would like for discussion. Would any of my colleagues like to pull any items? Supervisor Anderson?
I'd like to pull item 6, and I'm happy to make a motion for the rest.
Okay. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer?
No items.
Items, okay. And then only thing, I just wanted to comment on a couple of items. Item number 1, I'm very happy to see that we're continuing to identify ways to support justice involved individuals, item number 1, and providing wraparound services and housing to help them improve their outcomes. And accessing housing can be difficult for justice involved individuals, and investing in housing supportive services for them. So excited to support that one. And then also item number 2, support authorizing HHS to apply for up to $500,000 in state emergency solutions grant for ESG funds to assist persons experiencing homelessness who are at risk of experiencing homelessness. Thank you for all the work around that issue as well. And I'm particularly excited about item number 4. This is the compensation agreement for a property in National City. This is a great example of working with cities throughout our region to build affordable housing. This particular item has been fully committed to developing our excess property for affordable housing, and it's always exciting when we get the opportunity to support cities in developing their properties for affordable homes. It's going to result in developing 127 new unit developments, of which 51 units are going to be dedicated to affordable housing, and what was formerly part of a redevelopment agency. So I'm excited that the county gets to play a role in this work. And we're going to be able to sell this. National City will be selling this property for market rate in exchange for the development. So excited to see this. And last but not least, I was also proud to lead the effort to create the Arts and Culture Commission for the County of San Diego last year. And so I want to thank everybody for the commission for all their work on bringing the bylaws forward for item number 8. So I'm looking forward to seeing the work as it's moving forward and uplifting arts and culture in our region. So I'm happy to second the motion. And so I'm going to open it up for public comment. As a reminder for the members of the public, please keep your comments related to those items only on the consent calendar. We're going to pull item number 6, so all of the other items except for number 6. So please, clerk, can you please call the speakers to the podium?
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. Before I call the speakers, I would like to note for item 5, that pursuant to Government Code Section 54953, prior to taking final action, the legislative body shall orally report a summary of a recommendation for a final action on the salary or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of local agency executives. Agenda item 5 includes an increase to the annual salary of the County Council to $337,761. With that note on the record, this item may remain on consent. We have 8 requests to speak on items in the consent calendar, 4 in person and 4 requesting to speak by phone. As the chairwoman indicated, item 6 has been pulled, so any members of the public that requested to speak on item 6, please hold your comments until the board discusses that item. We'll be having public comment on that item separately. Any members of the public that requested to speak on the remaining items on consent, please, by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. I'd like to invite forward the following individuals: Paul the Bold, Truth, Mark, and Pam. If I've called your name, please come forward. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board.
Good morning, Paul Bold. According to the board letter, in fiscal year 2022-23, the HCDS state ESG program provided emergency shelter for 1820 households and rapid rehousing to 163 households. Not bad for 500 thou. Now, getting to the supportive services for pretrial. Last meeting, the agenda item, number 2 then, was withdrawn from consideration. It doesn't sound much better today. It still sounds like snatch a purse, get a home and a job while you're waiting for trial. The board letter does not explain why we need $1 million worth of special housing for individuals pre-trial who aren't convicted yet. Don't these people go to their homes? Are they not monitored there? The board letter says you're already providing services. So this is basically an expansion of unneeded services. You want to connect these pretrial people with reentry services. Reentry to what? Pretrial people should not be kept in jail long enough that they need to find reentry services. They come from homes. Why should we provide services to find them another home or benefits or even employment? Are these not already available to people not in jail? And help not to miss court appointments. If their appointment is important, they'll be there. It is a matter of trust, and my advice would be to fix yours first. And in the off chance that these pretrial offenders are violent, I'd rather have the violent pretrial offenders in jail, not near jail.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
This is Truth, hoping nobody cracks before we even get to discussion. Item 1 is $1 million from the Judicial Council of California for Homestart, Inc. to provide housing for clients not even on trial. Item 2 is $500,000 in state debt dollars to engage homeless individuals living on the street. But you know, when the county website engagement section shows communist-inspired images of people with no faces, I'm worried that if people engage with the county, they're going to lose their faces. I'm also concerned if any money is going to go to substance abuse treatment, because it should. Item 3 is the lying CDC's racist and ethnic approaches to community health REACH program, reaching for the targeted color card. $5 million over 5 years to push culturally tailored propaganda to change behaviors related to lifestyle and even the deadly clot shot. Item 4 is the county getting an over $7,400 cut of tax money for National City to allow Nevada-based Tower 999 LLC to buy property to build a 7-story mixed-use monstrosity with 127 stack and pack box units, 40% allegedly affordable. But originally it was supposed to be more than half as affordable, but that never happens. Item 5 is well over $337,000 a year for Claudia to stay county council. And guess what? Last year she used to make $278,000. Man, has she gone up. She's very expensive. Item 7, in only 30 years, the county HHSA somehow let the building for the Facilities Management Division decay to the point that they want a new space. Item 8 is approving the bylaws and changing the admin code for the Arts and Culture Commission, including removing gender. Item 9, yes to Peter San Nicolas to the Ramona Design Review Board. From a 2020 San Diego Union Tribune article, quote, DA Summer Stephan has charged Ramona gym owner Peter with 5 misdemeanors for operating during the state's shutdown orders. Peter said he had to stay open in order to save his business. Wilma Wooten was aware and consulted about the charges, end quote.
Next speaker, please.
Pam, item number 1, no to housing for pretrial status. The vision of Homestart, Inc. is to effectively prevent and treat child abuse. Who are these individuals, criminals, lawbreakers in the pretrial status that need housing, and what types of crimes are they alleged to have committed? Number 3, CDC funding to HHS for racial and ethnic community health. Equality, not equity. Don't trust everything the CDC recommends. Speaking of HHS, Dr. McDonald, you were maskless when breaking ground for the new county lab and when you spoke to the media. Now, you're wearing your mask again. Does that mean there's a contagion in here? Do we not have good air? Are you concerned about COVID? Does your injection not work? If you were a private citizen, we wouldn't care, but you are a taxpayer-funded public employee, and you present to the public. You need to explain, not in details.
Just a reminder, please stay on any of the agenda
Number
items.
7, still speaking on HHS.
Thank you.
No new digs for HHS, not until the homeless situation is resolved. In the meantime, stick it out in the current conditions. The county resources will soon be depleted anyway. And the final agenda item, Nora, you owe Michael an apology. He was speaking on non-agenda item.
Next speaker, please.
Mark, one, I'm not against housing pretrial clients, but since the borders are open, it's the amount of people coming over, 7,500, that pretty much doubled our homeless population. And even though 98% of them supposedly leave San Diego to go somewhere else, that's a constant flow. That happened in like a 2-week period. Meaning
What item are you speaking to, sir?
that's on one, housing pretrial clients.
Okay,
so if you don't stop that problem, you're not going to solve the problem. 2, people need to see tyrannical powers FEMA has during the emergencies that your supervisors are declaring. Google this title here, you can see I'm holding up, and read this article. It's powers no organization should ever have. Totally guts the Constitution. 3 is good. 5, the council getting a raise. This is literally criminal. The council, you mean Elo Rivera, who just said that that landlords have to pay their tenants 2 months' rent to leave, even though the landlord has committed no crime and gets no due process trial whatsoever. You mean the council that's taken away inalienable gun rights, especially over ghost guns that in poor communities where the people really need cheap ways to get good guns and defend their families and their country. It's unbelievable how many people are coming into the country. We could literally have a revolution in California. It would not shock me if the cartel tried to take over California, and they might.
What's the item that you're
Yeah,
to?
I was on number 5. The council getting raised. I'm critiquing their policies and procedures, Nora, and they suck. And to get a raise, they should be thrown out. You kidding? Is that enough of the agenda item, Nora?
Now we'll hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll start with our first caller.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Ann Riddle, and I'm speaking to item 3. It's the acceptance of funding of more than $5 million over the next 5 years to assist us with our community health regarding racial and ethnic disparities. I lend my support to this wonderful idea and the funding that would come from it. However, I am concerned that on the one hand, we recognize that those who experience economic difficulties are often those who have health disparities. And on the other hand, we're promoting marijuana businesses throughout the unincorporated part of our county, and marijuana products are primarily vaped or smoked. So on the one hand, we recognize the problems with smoking and vaping for communities that struggle and those disparities. But on the other hand, we seem to be promoting them, those businesses in the unincorporated area that would bring more smoking and vaping, in this case marijuana, to our citizens who struggle. I think it's important to remember that the county has identified that there are 3 factors involved in over 50% of the deaths here in our county, and they are poor diet, physical activity, and tobacco use. I would say to you that tobacco use, smoking, and vaping is most similar to marijuana vaping and smoking. And this disparity regarding helping our people with understanding tobacco use causing problems, but not understanding that marijuana use causes problems, is really
not attentive to the needs of our county, and particularly those communities that experience disparity in their health outcomes. Thank you for letting me share my concern.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Where's Jim at? How you guys have a quorum? This don't make no sense because you guys need Jim there. But anyway, Nora, you need to get under control because you're out of it. But it's okay.
What agenda item are you
showing your true color. I am speaking on all of them. See, you're so good. I was waiting for you. Hi, Nora. Hey, how you doing? You doing good? Okay, let's go. All right, so, we are, the CDC wants to prevent, things for racial and ethnic. They want funding for racial and ethnic approaches to community health because they need to reduce disparities. That makes sense because it's a culturally appropriate program for priority populations. That is so interesting, Nora. You're in one of those. Oh, and I'm not. Dang it. Anywho, redevelopment agencies. So you guys, I love when you guys get assets, right? Because they're like, we're going to dissolve the redevelopment agencies and give the assets to whoever wants them, right? And so it's funny because the city is already failing miserably to provide affordable housing. So this is going to be interesting to watch it fail miserably, like it always does. And then you guys have to get your HUD funds, by aligning to prioritize the affordable housing, homelessness, community infrastructure, HIV and AIDS. Otherwise, you guys don't get the money, right? So as long as you pretend that you're going to help people and just, do what they ask you to do, then you're going to get the money to who knows where it goes, really. And then just for the HHSA to relocate, I don't even know that we need them. I'm pretty sure we should just get rid of them, not spend any money on that. Because who calls it groundbreaking when you put dirt on cement and shovel it? That's not groundbreaking. But, everything is a show with you guys. It's so great. And then, approving an amendment for the employment agreement for county council, a request to compensate experienced leaders in their capacity. Well, interesting. I would.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on the items in the consent calendar.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and take item 6 at the end of the meeting, at the end of the agenda. The next item on the agenda we'll be hearing is item number 14. So item 14 is humanitarian emergency response and relief supportive services for asylum-seeking migrants. So this item, I think first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to many of the folks that are here today. Many of them are folks who have been working on trying to address this humanitarian crisis with so many of us for so many years. And I think many of you know my trajectory around this issue. And, I helped found the first Office of Immigrant Affairs in the West Coast in 2004. I was the first director of the Office of Immigrant Affairs for the City of Los Angeles. And very vividly remember when I got the call in 2017, and we all gathered in City Heights and then St. Jude, and then all of us organized SCIU, the 40 organizations, and we came together. And so this is not a new issue for us, and we've worked together at the convention center. We've worked together in so many different ways. It was a different board, and here we are. I get to be in this role as chair. Just 2 weeks ago, my colleague and I, Supervisor Desmond, joined together to declare this a humanitarian crisis. And we together asked our federal government for additional support. And I have to say that, I'm very grateful for the work that both Catholic Charities and Jewish Family Services and other organizations have been doing for so many years. I want to personally thank Lisa and Catholic and Casa Familiar for stepping up in the last couple of weeks and doing the work that they've been doing for our asylum seekers to help them reach their final destination, and all the work that they've done. What we are seeing right now is really as a result of the previous administration's, federal policies and some of the challenges that we've seen. And, you know, people can have their political opinions about what this is or this isn't. But we have a responsibility once people are here in our communities to make sure that they're treated with dignity and with respect. And I really believe that is extremely important that we do everything we can to make sure that when we have a humanitarian crisis on our hands, that we do everything that we can to do our part to support folks. And so we are continuing to work with the administration. This is not something that we've stopped doing. We are requesting the support from both the Biden administration and with Congress. But as you know, there's no action that has been taken from Congress at this time because Congress is at a standstill. And what I want to make sure that people understand about the ask that I'm making is that I'm asking my colleagues to support a $3 million allocation of non-designated funds to do support services and authorize a short-term lease so that we can support local NGOs to process asylum seekers and to support them so that they can get to their final destination. This is not a long-term solution, and there's still a lot of work for all of us to do. And we have stepped up in so many other times. We have to continue to figure out how we are going to address this as a region, as a state, and as a nation. But I think this is the first step in us being able to move forward. Let's make no mistake that the state of current affairs is the result of 4 years of backlog created by the previous administration, and the fact that people are here that are seeking asylum is folks that are, you know, they're fleeing persecution and really difficult situations in their home countries. And so it's really important for me that we think about this and we put politics aside and we really think about what this looks like as we're moving forward. I've been asked, and people continue to politicize this issue and say, you know, you're taking money from one place to another. This board has been very committed to ensuring that we're addressing the numerous crises that we are facing as a county, such as homelessness, such as healthcare, and that has not ended. We're going to continue to work on, we're not taking money away from our priorities on homelessness and housing and mental health. These are $3 million that are undesignated at this time, and it's temporary funding that we're going to designate. And so I am looking forward to the discussion that we're going to have with my colleagues, and I'm hoping that they will find it in their heart to really do the right thing for our communities and for our region and support this initiative that is a short-term solution to really not only support our community, but the NGOs that are already doing this work and that is really much needed work for our community. So with that, Clerk, can you please, I'd like to make a motion to support this board letter, and then also I'd like to call the public for comments.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. We have 43 requests to speak on item 14, 30 in person, and 13 requesting to speak by phone. Also note that we received 193 e-comments, 148 in favor, 36 in opposition, and 1 neutral. There was also 1 individual that registered their support but did not wish to address the board. Any members of the public that requested to speak on item 14 by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, starting with those in favor of this item. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. I'll be calling you in groups of 5, so I'll ask you to please listen for your name. I'd like to invite forward the following individuals: Scott Santarosa, Isela Castro, Daniel Duarte, Lisa Cuestas, and Samantha Shimmer. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record.
Good morning, Supervisors, Chairwoman Vargas. My name is Father Scott Santa Rosa. I'm the pastor of Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish in Logan Heights. We are currently providing a safe place to sleep for 15 to 35 migrant men each night. and a simple dinner and a breakfast. And we do it because of our Christian faith. It calls us to act with mercy towards our brothers and sisters in need. It is the generosity of our parishioners who provide the meals each day and the presents. We've helped the county keep 15 to 35 men off the streets each night. I believe the county's financial support at this time is absolutely in the best interest of the county, so that churches like ours can help with this challenge that we now face together. Foremost is our cost of overnight security, where these migrants sleep, because that has been too difficult for our own parishioners to provide. We also see the need for safe shelter, as in hotel vouchers for women and children, something we cannot provide at this time. I should add that because of the generosity of our parishioners, our costs are minimal, about $16 per migrant per night. Your investment in us is a good investment. So please support Chairwoman Vargas's letter to allocate $3 million in aid for the humanitarian crisis that we currently face. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Isela Castro, and I am a parishioner at Our Lady of Guadalupe in Logan Heights. The parish has opened its doors to migrants in our neighborhood, and as a parish, we are pulling our resources together. Many of us have signed up to welcome them and provide basic human necessities. We've opened our hearts and our kitchens to make home-cooked meals for them. And as a volunteer coordinator, I have witnessed this firsthand, and it's just a beautiful thing to be a part of. And we're doing all we can with what we have. Our resources are becoming scarce. We have come to find that this is not sustainable, and we need more support, and I urge that you support this. Thank you for your time.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Daniel Duarte. I'm a community organizer with the San Diego Organizing Project. We have a humanitarian crisis here in San Diego involving men, women, children, and infants. We need to support asylum seekers in our county. At Our Lady of Guadalupe, the community has stepped in to do God's work, help our migrant community. The congregants have volunteered time to provide food, water, also help to provide plane tickets, as well as transportation to the airport. Resources are quickly dwindling, and volunteers are exhausted. Funds will greatly alleviate the strain of the volunteers. People are forced to sleep on the streets, which the city has now criminalized because of lack of shelter. I support Article 14 and urge the board to vote yes for Article 14. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Cuesta, CEO of Casa Familiar. Thank you, Supervisor, for the thanks. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands how many NGOs and grassroots organizations and churches have been supporting for the past 4 weeks. I want to say thank you very much to Lindsay, who I've just gotten to know, and Immigrant Defenders Law Center. There's so many of us that are doing things that are not what we typically do in everyday practices supporting community. And right now, what we are seeing is that District 1, District 2, District 5 is being very directly impacted. And as weeks go on, every single district in this county is going to be very seriously impacted if we do not come together and understand that these actions today are very important, but they will need to pave a way for long-term planning. In my community that I've been serving and used to live in San Isidro, I've been serving there for 22 years, I'm seeing businesses being impacted. I'm seeing nonprofit organizations and people being stretched way too thin. Even arts organizations stepping up to help, being stretched way too thin. Seeing trauma of those seeking help and hearing the stories and trauma of those individuals providing the support, the risk of human trafficking is very real. The risk on a public health level is very real. And these are only a few of the reasons why we're asking the county to step up and to step in such a significant way. And it's a global issue that will not end. And it's something that will touch us very personally in different ways if we do not come together. And so I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers: Maurice Lyles, Yusen Kim, Aaron Suramotograci, Kelly Ryan, and Judith Foz. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and fellow supervisors. My name is Samantha Schwimmer. My pronouns are she, her, and on behalf of the San Diego LGBT Community Center, I'm here today to urge the board to vote in favor of this item. As the largest LGBTQ health and human service provider in the San Diego region, we have seen firsthand the humanitarian crisis happening in our county, with Customs and Border Protection dropping off over 13,000 asylum seekers on our streets without access to basic resources. Many of these folks need short-term support before they settle elsewhere in the country. We thank the leadership of the countless organizations that are working tirelessly on the ground to support asylum seekers, and know that this work will only continue to flourish with increased funding. The board's action today of approving the use of $3 million in ARPA funding to address this crisis will ensure that these asylum seekers are able to survive and eventually thrive once they make it to their final destination. We thank Chair Vargas for her steadfast leadership in protecting the rights of asylum seekers by bringing this essential item forward. We look forward to the board's support of this item. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Supervisor. I'm Maurice Lyles, Regional Director for Governor Gavin Newsom. Thank you for your time and for allowing me to speak. I first want to recognize the community leaders and CBOs and advocates behind me for their steadfast commitment to the issue that's before us today. I'd also like to recognize and thank Nora Vargas, Chairwoman Vargas, for her leadership on this issue as well. You know, the federal government is responsible for setting immigration policy, and the challenges we are seeing at the border are due to decades of inaction by Congress. Congressional inaction to modernize our immigration system, including our border infrastructure, hurts families, restrains economic growth, and challenges local governments and NGOs to fill gaps of Congress's inaction without sufficient funding or resources. While the federal government is responsible for immigration policy, state government, local governments, and community partners are coming together in partnership to support people in need and mitigate the challenges caused by an outdated immigration system, including sheltering infrastructure. These funds being presented today showcase our values of partnership and humanity. The state is supporting vulnerable migrant populations who have the highest needs and challenges. These are families with young children, pregnant women, people with disabilities, the LGBT community, and the medically fragile. The state welcomes this partnership with the county and local NGOs to respond to the current needs. We will continue to urge Congress to do more and provide additional funding to for temporary shelter that supports people safely moving to their sponsors and friends inside the U.S. and pursue their immigration cases. Most people coming to San Diego have onward travel plans somewhere else in the United States. Thank you for presenting this agenda item that will support the border community and asylum seekers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chair Vargas, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, and the rest of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Yusen Kim. I'm a community organizer in North County with the San Diego Organizing Project, and I wanted to show my support for Agenda Item 14. Just having a pulse on the situation on the ground, what we're seeing is a leadership vacuum that's being filled by faith communities, NGOs, and nonprofits that are trying to work together to address this current issue. And as you've seen on the e-comments and the different testimonies, they're just pretty much spread thin. They're digging into their own pockets, and their staff are burning out. taking on responsibilities that are not under their job description. So this $3 million non-directed funds, I believe, will be a short-term solution that's very much needed by the people on the ground. But I also just want to state the fact that we are a border city. I just want to pin and support a federally funded welcoming center where people can be processed. And now we know that, you have the support of the community, you have the people that are driven by their faith to welcome the stranger and the foreigner. But there needs to be a long-term solution as well. So I want to ask the board for their support for agenda item 14. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Erin Suramoto-Grassi. I'm the Policy Director at Alliance San Diego. First, we want to thank the chairwoman for bringing this important item forward and urge the board to support the item today. As a border region, San Diego County has a long history of welcoming immigrants and refugees. The resources being proposed today are critically important to allow us to continue that tradition and to make certain that we can continue to welcome and respond to thousands of asylum seekers who are currently arriving in our region. When there are humanitarian emergencies, everyone has a responsibility to uphold human rights and safeguard human dignity. This means everyone has a responsibility to respond. Individual community members, organizations, businesses, philanthropy, local, state, and federal government. Community members and nonprofits have been filling the gaps and responding on the ground for weeks to the point of exhaustion and burnout. It is now time for the county to pick up the baton. We are happy to see the county stepping forward now to help with $3 million, and we encourage the county to look for additional ways to support and to step into more of a leadership role in the response effort. Thank you again for bringing this item forward. We encourage the board to pass it.
Thank you. So next speaker is coming forward. I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers. Greg Angel, Nate Woolman, Crystal Irving, Patricia Mondragon, and Lindsay Totslawski. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Hi, my name is Kelly Ryan. I'm the pastor of the Table United Church of Christ in La Mesa. And for the last few weeks, myself, other pastors and church members, and other United Church of Christ churches in this region have been on the ground daily providing supplies and to welcome asylum seekers who have been arriving in our region. We've done this every day out of our own pockets, as so many others have done. We've joined our efforts as a small drop in the bucket, and we need every single drop we can get. The organizers and volunteers who have been on the ground are fiercely dedicated to providing hospitality and support. But without larger sources of funding like you are offering today, these efforts are simply unsustainable. You declared this situation a humanitarian crisis. And we can say that, yes, this is a humanitarian moment that the federal government needs to address, but yes, also that San Diego County, as a border county, we also need to show up in this situation. And so I strongly support this item and the use of these ARPA funds to support the powerful, life-saving and life-giving work of the NGOs who've been giving of themselves day and night since this situation began. As you've heard from others, we don't have a designated welcome center for migrants and asylum seekers. And organizers on the ground, though, they've created this from scratch at the San Ysidro Civic Center, and now they've had to move due to lack of funds to the Iris Transit Center. They need all the resources that every person, every entity in our county can offer. They're doing the job that the local, state, and federal government should be doing out of sheer force of heart. Our county's NGOs, faith communities, and volunteers can do amazing things, but we need you to also be amazing in this moment. Thank you for proposing this. I strongly urge you to pass and vote yes on item 14.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Judy Voss, and I'm the Public Affairs Manager at Planned Parenthood of the Pacific Southwest. I'm here today to speak in favor of the proposal brought forward by the chair, and I want to say thank you and express my gratitude for doing so. For the past 4 weeks, our community members have responded to an active situation at our border. Numerous community members, mutual aids, and nonprofits have provided critical resources to vulnerable communities seeking asylum. And even before this latest influx of people, our residents have always shown up for migrant communities. They show up when it's hot, when it's raining, and they remain with the people, whether it's 1 a.m., 5 a.m., 9 p.m. We have the most dedicated people responding to the situation. And I know a lot of folks in the nonprofit space are able to work in the shelters and support, but there are a lot of unpaid people as well in the community who are not getting paid and are doing this out of the kindness of their heart. And there are a lot of mutual aids and nonprofits like the Haitian Bridge Alliance, PANA, Detention Resistance, Border Kindness, Casa Familiar, Jewish Family Services, and so many more who have always responded to the needs of our residents and migrants. So many people have shown up and their families have shown up to support these families. Yes, we do need federal relief to support our communities. However, San Diego County is also responsible for ensuring the health and safety of all residents and individuals who remain in the county. We must take proactive steps to support migrants as they navigate our asylum system. We cannot afford another day without a plan or funding to respond to this ongoing crisis. I support the funding request of $3 million, and I also want to request that any further planning to continue is done in collaboration with immigration advocacy organizations who have always done this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Greg Angel. I serve as CEO of Interfaith Community Services, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of a broad coalition of partners in North County who have been responding 12 to 16 hours per day, 7 days per week, supporting asylum seekers released in Oceanside. Since September 13th, our coalition of partners have helped more than 1,000 individuals from more than 30 countries. 95% of these individuals have been able to connect with their sponsor families. Hundreds of these individuals have been provided with short-term shelter, and almost all of these individuals have been provided with travel assistance to connect. As other speakers have shared, our partners of CBOs, the City of Oceanside, and in recent weeks, the County of San Diego, have been doing jobs and functions that are not part of their regular responsibilities. They've been taking time away from what they are normally charged to do and paid to do to help and meet the crisis before us. This is a crisis that has its roots in the way that our federal government is processing these individuals. We understand that the federal government has a primary responsibility in helping address the local response. We want to commend the County of San Diego for identifying federal dollars to address this resource. And we fully support the proposal to allocate $3 million of federal resources towards this response. In North County, we have a proven, effective system and network that is working, but our people are tired. They're burnt out. They cannot continue. Where we usually plan in months and years, we're planning in hours and days. We appreciate your consideration. It's an opportunity to immediately help and to plan for a better, more sustainable long-term response. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chairwoman Vargas, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, and Supervisors. My name is Crystal Irving, and I'm proud to serve as President of SEIU Local 221. I am here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas and support the allocation of $3 million to aid NGOs in providing critical humanitarian assistance to people seeking asylum released onto the streets by the federal government. I'm grateful for the organizations that we've already heard from for stepping up and supporting people in need. When I look into the eyes of people in need, I never question where they are born as a qualifier of whether or not they are worthy of receiving help. As people who provide good public services, our role is not to make a judgment call of worthiness, but to support and lift all people who find themselves in our region. This is not a matter of either or, it is both and. We can absolutely help asylum seekers and still help our homeless, our veterans, our children, our families in need. This is a matter of humanity, and we cannot sit on the sidelines for this one. The county has a civic and moral obligation to act now and fund these critical services. I urge you all to vote yes to ensure that we are better equipped to welcome all asylum seekers with dignity and respect into our region. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Lindsay Toslowski. I'm the Executive Director at Immigrant Defenders Law Center.
MDEF provides legal services. We help people fight to access asylum. We help people fight against deportation. However, since September 13th, we've been unable to provide those vital legal services to asylum seekers being dropped off by CBP onto the streets of San Diego because we've been stretched to our limits, providing vital humanitarian aid to 500 to 1,000 asylum seekers being dropped at either Casa Familiar or now at the Iris Transit Center. Our team is working 12 to 16-hour shifts at times just to meet the basic needs of providing food, water, respite shelter, while also dealing with security issues, including human trafficking on site. I'm here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas. That would allocate $3 million to keep people safe and help reunite families that have been separated by CBP. This funding would provide critical support and humanitarian assistance, but we need more than just funding. We need the we need the county to play a vital role in aiding the most vulnerable. So I urge the county to consider, and the supervisors to consider, that financial assistance alone is not enough. NGOs do not have the capacity to operationalize this response without additional support from the county. We've seen in the last week a move by the county in providing additional support at the Iris Transit Center in the form of trailers, staff, bathrooms, and security. This type of operational support needs to continue and be ramped up to allow NGOs to play a supporting role in a sustainable response led by the county. I urge you to vote yes on this item and to continue to consider ways that the county can play a leading role in welcoming migrants here with dignity. Thank you.
As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers: Paulina Reyes, Mackenzie Martinez, Lauren Cusitello, Lillian Serrano, and Brandon Duran.
Good morning, Patricia Mondragon, Regional Policy Manager for Alliance San Diego. I urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas, which will allocate $3 million of federal ARPA funds to provide critical humanitarian assistance to newly released asylum seekers. Beginning September 13th, anywhere from 350 to over 750 asylum seekers have been lawfully released daily on the streets of our county. CBP releases on average 561 asylum seekers each day at different locations in San Ysidro, Oceanside, and El Cajon. They are from all over the world, speak many different languages, and are released in no condition to continue their journey. Nonprofits, grassroots organizations, churches, and caring individuals have shouldered the response to ensure asylum seekers have food, shelter, basic needs met, and the means to reach their final destination. Some of these same groups had already been responding to the humanitarian crisis at the open-air detention sites in San Ysidro and Jacamba since even before September 13th. They are tired and stretched thin, and it is unsustainable. This critical response to provide a dignified, humane welcome is unsustainable and cannot continue without funding or resources from the county. The county has a civic and moral obligation to act. I urge you to vote yes on this long overdue and critical board letter and seek additional resources to ensure we are better equipped to welcome all asylum seekers with dignity and respect to our region. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and supervisors. My name is Paulina Reyes, and I am the managing attorney with Immigrant Defenders Law Center. Our office is located in District 1, and I'm a longtime resident of District 4. I'm also the chair of the San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium, a coalition of over 50 faith-based labor and community organizations. After spending long days and nights warmly welcoming asylum seekers being dropped off on San Diego streets by Customs and Border Protection, I'm here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas. Every day since September 13th, the federal government has stranded over 500 asylum seekers, including young adults fleeing civil war, individuals with health issues fleeing violence, and LGBTQI+ fleeing harm. We also saw families with minor children. Every day since September 13th, NGOs, grassroots collectives, and individual community members have stepped up to the humanitarian need by providing them with food, clothing, basic medical supplies, limited sheltering, and resources to reach their family and loved ones in the United States. Local churches have opened their doors to shelter and provide safety to those that need a little more time to reunite with their family and loved ones. This critical work without funding or resources from the county is unsustainable. The county must play an important role in providing humanitarian aid. I urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chair Vargas, and to the members of the board. My name is Lauren Cusatello. I'm the director of the American Bar Association Immigration Justice Project, but I speak in my individual capacity as a resident of District 4. I think it is most important when I urge the board to approve Agenda Item 14 to really note the needs. I echo everything that the previous speakers and that the chair has said in support of this item, but we need to talk a bit more about why it is that people have waited in Mexico all of these months, have come and spent time between layers of fence here in San Diego County. What is it they've experienced, and what is it that they need, and what are they hoping for? Why here? Why the United States? And the answer is, the needs of this population are exactly the kind of needs that we should always be willing to address. We see women who have fled domestic violence, often decades of domestic violence, in countries where the government treats that as a family matter, not a place for law enforcement to step in and offer protection. We see members of the LGBTQ communities throughout the world whose relationships and families have been criminalized and come here because this is a place that welcomes and embraces love in any form. And we see people who have survived trauma in northern Mexico, along the journey, and still have waited because of the promise of a welcoming America that will protect people and entitle them to a life of freedom and security. Now, those of us who represent people seeking asylum in their legal processes have to establish that the governments of the countries that they have fled are either unable or unwilling to protect them. And the conversation here is not about whether we're unable. Well,
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Supervisor Anderson, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, and Chair Vargas. My name is Mackenzie. I'm a resident of District 4 and a proud member of Alliance San Diego. I'm here to support item 14. As a San Diego resident, I have been in awe of the love, effort, and support that have come from my community members to support migrants who have arrived in our city. But to say they have just arrived is to dismiss the exhausting journeys and inhumane treatment they have suffered up until this point, often at the hands of our own government. Our government has not only ignored the plights of immigrants for years, but now they are allowing a humanitarian crisis to continue within our own county. While they sit in inaction, individuals, places of worship, and non-government organizations have stepped up to provide life-saving resources and support. Our government has failed not only our newcomers, but our current residents as well. It is the government's responsibility and duty to support these organizations and individuals who are doing what they would not. This inaction has been seen at every level of the government, from federal, state, to local. For years, San Diego has been a pillar of human dignity, respect, and justice. I urge the board to approve this measure and continue this proud tradition. Let us be leaders for our country and show what true compassion and justice look like. Let us be the change we want to see in the world. It is the responsibility of each one of us to uphold human dignity and safety. I urge and insist that the board pass Measure 14. Thank you all for your time, and thank you for bringing this measure.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Lilian Serrano, and I'm the director of the Southern Border Communities Coalition. But most importantly, I'm a resident of District 5. I am a little disappointed to see that my supervisor is not here to provide direct representation to my district, but I trust that this board will make the right decision for our region. I'm here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas, which will allocate much-needed funding to aid San Diegan communities in providing critical humanitarian assistance to people seeking asylum released into our streets. We all agree that the federal government needs to do more to care for those who come to our country, exercising their human right and using the legal pathway promised by our asylum system. Unfortunately, we are at a point where we can no longer wait for the federal government to do its job. I'm proud to see that our county leaders are stepping up to uphold our values of protecting human dignity in our region. It is time to start with dignity. Anybody can point fingers, but only leaders can step up, bring solutions that are rooted in protecting human dignity. San Diegans from all over the county have been volunteering, donating, taking their family time and their entire families to provide to these asylum seekers. It is time for this board to do its part. It is your turn. I urge you to vote yes on this long overdue and critical board letter. Thank you.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite the remaining speakers in favor: Flower Alvarez Lopez, Robert Zepeda, Christian Ramirez, Eitan Peled, Monica Langarisa, and a final call for Nate Woolman.
Thank you, Board of Supervisors. Thank you, Chair. My name is Brandon Duran. I am the pastor at Kensington Community Church. As a pastor, I am often invited into spaces where there is so much I do not know. And I think about that as I stand before you in this moment, that there is so much about this moment and about you in particular that I do not know. I don't know how this measure connects with you personally. I don't know how it relates to your story. I don't know about the full extent of the weight of expectations you carry into this conversation and decision. I don't know how you will vote or what you will decide on this measure. And as I think about the things I don't know, I'm reminded of the first morning I showed up at the Iris Avenue Transit Center with so much I did not know as I watched those asylum seekers get off the bus. I didn't know about the stories they brought with them. I didn't know about their journey that they had faced. I didn't know anything about the challenges that they had overcome. And even as I took some to the airport, 2 from Cameroon, 2 from Uzbekistan, and heard about their journey through Turkey, through Portugal, through Brazil, up through Central America, I realized that there was a vast amount that I did not know. But what I did know, what was abundantly clear, was that they arrived with hope, that they arrived with a desire for safety and a security and a new life. I knew that when they stepped off the bus and I saw their faces scan unfamiliar streets looking for some sort of sense of safety and security, I knew that what they found were the eyes of volunteers and members of NGOs, employees who were there ready to greet them with compassion and dignity, with respect and a belief in a common shared humanity. I don't know how you will decide this day, but what I saw and what I've continued to see over the last several weeks are San Diegans who have already made a decision. They've already made a decision to show up, whether it's through being present in the mornings when the buses are unloaded, or whether it's through the donations that they give, or whether it's through the prayers that they offer. San Diegans have shown up to care for this community, and I urge you to make the same decision.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Flower Alvarez Lopez, and I'm the co-director of Universidad Popular, and I'm a resident of District 5. D5 is where I live, where I work, where I grew up, and where I have chosen to raise my family. San Diego is my home. It is with that sentiment of grounding and love for my home that I make the following comment in support of allocating funding to provide humanitarian aid to asylum seekers that are at our doorstep. As an organization and in collaboration with Restoration Abbey, we shelter between 10 to 30 individuals every single night. Along with the American Friends Service Committee, I spent 24 hours, 7 days a week at the border in May to monitor Whiskey 8. And this time around, I have been at the open-air detention facilities along the San Diego-Mexican border since the beginning of September, from Spooners in Imperial Beach to Valley of the Moon and Open Air Detention Center in Jacumba. I would like to remind this body that there's still volunteers at the border wall working the open air detention facilities that need the county support. I would actually argue that the conditions at the open air detention facilities are more dire and should be included in the scope of the county's response. This critical work without funding or resources from the county is unsustainable and cannot continue. I would like to thank Chair Nora for taking the initiative to put this board letter forward. It is not our mess, but it's all our responsibilities to respond and address it. I hope that the other supervisors, Larson, Reamer, Anderson, and Desmond, we need you, and we hope that you heed our cries. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Roberto Cepeda. I'm a San Diego State student, member of a project in San Diego called the Chicano Mexicano Prison Project, and also an association of teachers. I'm here to, urge the board to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas. I've been at this for a little over 2 weeks now, and when I say at this, I mean I was moved to go to the border and see how I could make myself useful or be of help. I can't not be there because I know that there's a lot of help needed. There's no support from local officials. There's a big need out there, right? And I mean, we are at the border here in San Diego, San Isidro, and out in the desert for hours on end from 5 p.m. till 6 in the morning. Making our way up there, preparing foods for people who are out in open air detentions without a proper place to sleep in, without food, and without any type of medical care. I know those conditions well, right? And that's the reason why I moved to that, right? I was born and raised in San Diego. San Diego's my home. And I've always grown up in a welcoming community, and San Diego will always be that, right? So I urge you all to make the right decision, even though this it seems like it might be on a short term, but from what I've been seeing directly, it's getting worse, right? So yeah, I just urge you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chair Vargas, members of the board. My name is Cristian Ramirez. I am the political director of SEIU USWW, and we represent 50,000 workers across the state of California. Some of our recent members cleaned this building. And I come before you to thank you for your leadership on this issue. Thank you for bringing this board letter to this body. I have had the opportunity to be at these open air detention sites in the southern part of our county and the eastern part of our county, and it was heartbreaking to see that these dire and horrific conditions for asylum seekers and newcomers exist in our own country. This is the wealthiest country in the world, and to see men, women, and children, some children as young as 4 days old, enduring the horrific conditions that our federal government has put them through is unspeakable. So I am glad that this body today will speak, hopefully with a loud and clear voice, that in our region, in this borderlands, we treat people with dignity and with respect, as the native people of these lands have treated us. I urge you to do the right thing today. I want to thank the community that I grew up in San Isidro for the tremendous amount of love that they have shared over the last days. And the biggest sign of love was to turn our gallery into a makeshift shelter where men slept for the first time in a comfortable space. That was the most caring and loving act that I have seen in these borderlands in many, many years. I want to thank you and urge you to vote in support of item 14.
Next speaker, please.
Good
Good morning. My name is Eitan Pellet. I'm a law student at University of San Diego and a current District 3 resident. I'm here in support of Chair Vargas's letter regarding the allocation of critical humanitarian response funding to prevent street releases. Local agencies have laid the groundwork to support asylum seekers after release from border detention, and this funding will help them continue the effective work that you've heard many folks speak about here at this meeting. As a former JFS staffer, I can speak to the coordination that the organizations have with border authorities and that the organizations and the support that they provide, from basic necessities like showers, shelter, diaper, and clothes, to travel coordination, helping them reach their loved ones often far from San Diego. These efforts are a model for how to welcome people in a way that centers both their humanity and the needs of the San Diego community. The board should fund and be proud of these efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and supervisors. My name is Monica Langarica. I'm a lifelong resident of San Diego County, a current resident of District 4, and a senior staff attorney at the Center for Immigration Law and Policy at UCLA Law. I'm here to express resounding support for item 14, to use federal funds to provide critical humanitarian support and infrastructure to receive and welcome newcomers in our border region. We are lucky to have the NGOs and the community, many of which has shown up today, that for too long has done the work of government. But it is past time for our county government to make clear that welcoming is a fundamental part of our border community. This investment will provide a much-needed reprieve for newcomers, NGOs, and community alike, and it will turn narratives that seek to foment crisis at the border on their head by using federal funds to invest in and to organize efforts that welcome and celebrate rather than seek to turn away newcomers to our region. I urge you to vote yes on item 14. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite forward the speakers in opposition of this item. Mark, Chris Stoddard, Truth, Paul the Bold, and Pam. If I've called your name, please come forward. And you may come forward in any order.
Mark, first of all, I have compassion for people from other countries. Of course, about the poor half of the world absolutely wants to come here, and they would all come here if they could. But we simply cannot take on 3.5 billion people. We cannot do it. America cannot do it. These funds are coming from ARPA. Well, what does ARPA usually spend this $3 million on? Premium pay for essential workers, investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. Like in our emergency situations right now, we could spare any of those. Also, I'm very happy for the migrant that is being housed by this organization. It's too bad that our own citizens that are homeless are sleeping in the doorways of businesses and being taken away by police or pushed around. And there's nothing for them, even though I've told this board many, many times how they could 3D print 10 by 10 structures that would be mobile on Fiesta Island or somewhere like that, even has a moat around it, basically. It's ideal. Now, more importantly, where is this coming from? Why is it happening? People need to see these videos. This one, Goodbye American Sovereignty. Here's the title right here. You can see it on YouTube. Go to 3 minutes, see it from 3 minutes to 6 minutes. When Trump signed the USMCA replacing NAFTA, the free trade agreement, or the trade agreement, in Chapter 30, it signed away rights over trade and immigration to an unelected foreign council. We only have one American member on, and he's not elected by anyone. Also, Biden did not rescind this, and neither one of them told you about it. I'm not right or left. They both suck. This is treason. You have to see this video, too, to understand. Rosa Corey, this one, this one, this one. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm a no. I'm Pam. And some of the people presenting today already indicated $3 million isn't enough. Since 2021, thousands of terrorists have been apprehended at the southern border. Many have not been. The term asylum is now thrown around so loosely it has lost purposeful meaning. Today, asylum equates to a free ticket into this country for whatever purpose, even if the goal is not to be an American. The term citizen has lost some significance. Nora, you stated in your interview on KUSI, these individuals could work and be, quote, productive citizens, unquote. You are incorrect. They can be productive if they choose. They are not citizens, and it is a long road until they are American citizens. The phrase humanitarian crisis is applied incorrectly. This is a crisis against America, its citizens, and people living here legally in this country and in this county. Where is Sheriff Martinez? You were elected by voters of this county. Your oath is to the U.S. Constitution, and you are accountable first to the county residents to assure their safety. These individuals are not your constituents. There are Americans who hate this country and are engaged in tactics for its destruction, such as the open southern border, leading to this illegal immigrant chaos. This chaos is now escalated in this county. Watch as this county will be further compromised, resources depleted, compounding the humanitarian crisis currently existing here with homelessness.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Chris Stoddard, and I'm here to speak against the use of $3 million of San Diego taxpayer funds to provide housing to what you call migrants, but what many call illegal immigrants. I understand these people come from various countries facing extreme hardships and have traveled incredible distances to seek asylum here, but it is not our responsibility to take care of people that choose to immigrate to our country illegally. Over 1 million people immigrate to the United States legally every year. I personally know numerous people that are well-educated, successful individuals that immigrated here, and the process has not been easy for any of them. However, they continue to do what was required to go through the steps the proper way to become an American citizen. Maybe legal immigration needs to be simplified, but that's not a decision any of us here can make. However, an open border is not the answer. Ronald Reagan said, "A nation that cannot control its borders is not a nation." For now, it's $3 million. Then when that runs out, it's another $3 million and more and more. Where does it end if we keep allowing illegal immigrants into our country, state, and city? This is our city and our home, and we need to focus on taking care of the people that live here first. Where is the help for all the American citizens that have nowhere to go? We have thousands of homeless men, women, and children living on our streets. Why don't you use the money to help them instead? If the recent events in Israel haven't concerned you enough about who exactly is walking across our border, then I don't know what will. We need to use these funds to support local law enforcement, fix our city, and take care of our own residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Truth, people from other countries have a right to come to America and seek asylum. But the question is, where do Americans seek asylum from the crises our government has been causing, especially if we can't even find it at our local councils and boards that refuse to represent us? Once again, to the detriment of the ignorance and gullibility of some of the well-meaning people, there are no such things as mistakes or accidents. Haven't been for decades now. The federal government, Democrat or Republican, it makes zero difference, only have intentional flubs and crises to offer. They gave the orders to the sellout Border Patrol agents to cut wires and let the floodgates open for any and all, unchecked, unverified, unprocessed, undocumented, unvetted, unlawful. Nora, you claim to like transparency, right? Well, don't you think the law should be followed with full transparency and accountability, rather than the county paying $3 million to clean up the corrupt federal government's mess? They gave over $113 billion to Ukraine last year alone, and who knows how many more trillions they will end up giving to Israel. But for the toxic sewage hitting IB this year, zero. They need to step up. But welcoming away $3 million of San Diegans' money for people who aren't even American, that's the same type of treason. Why should people who are not even known to us receive tech toys, food, snacks, water, transit, county public cars, public property, which could mean our parks and playgrounds, and more when we got people here suffering with a lot less? But you guys want to dole out $1 million a month right now for these people to be on their way so you don't have to deal with them, right? Well, the talking head political puppets have already been bragging about how these unsuspecting newcomers will be cheap labor to fill the employment void that was intentionally created with the lockdowns you supervisors had fun implementing. $3 million in American Ruination Plan Act debt dollars wasted here, but boy does that title live up to its name. This isn't a wave of migration. This is a wave of treason sweeping the country, and it needs to stop.
Next speaker, please.
As I said before, this country is a country of immigrants, and it should be that way. New people, new and maybe better ideas.
Can you please state your name?
Oh, Paula Bold, sorry. But I oppose this measure as written. Before you do anything, there should be a plan. There isn't any in your documents. The CAO should have been planning this since last April, if not since last year, which when the issue was first brought up at the board meeting. You want to transfer $3 million of ARPA funds to fund this, then $3 million from the finance other. So is it $6 million or $3 million? Also, transfer of ARPA funds for immigrants, however noble a cause, is an abuse. Under Government Code 26227, the money needs to come out of the general fund, not ARPA funds, not HHSA. Using ARPA funds for this would not be a proper use of the money. What about checking to see if we're letting endangered people into populated areas? Calling these immigrants asylum seekers suggests that the INS hasn't processed them completely. Since these immigrants are apparently being bused in wholesale, as it were, it's hard to know whether they've been screened adequately or what support they need. If we plan, it's a lot easier to gather resources for supporting them. HHSA, by the way, already has got a $43 million increase in the budget and now wants you to give it more. So I'm sure that you don't need to transfer a mere $3 million to it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll start with our first caller.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Thank you for hearing me today. My name is Denise Kearns, and I am a San Diego native resident. I am against item 14. My concern is immigration that has horrifically become so out of hand, and our government condones it. These are not women, children, and families that are crossing our border daily. These are criminals, savages, terrorists, people who have absolutely no morals or integrity, who hate America, here to do harm to Americans. They come here and rape and kill our women and children to kill us. It has been documented on film from the migrants themselves that they have come here to be martyrs. They have been told they will have everything given to them, and they have their little card to prove it, and they will be supplied with guns and ammunition by our government. When they get the green light to proceed to kill us, they will go house to house and murder anyone they can. My confidence in our government to protect us is zero. Genocide, this is their goal. Example, COVID. What is happening in Israel will happen to us if we do not stop this madness. You state that 98% move on to other parts of the country. Is this supposed to make us feel better? It does not. In our national park in Arizona, where they are now processing these illegals, where only illegals can be, but Americans are not allowed to enter. What do you think our government is hiding? Does San Diego County condone this? Will San Diego County protect us? I have no confidence in government making common sense decisions. You have shown your true colors, and Americans are angry and awake. It has been documented in all states of the U.S. of Palestinians praising Hamas and yelling death to America. Do you not see this? Where are your morals and integrity? When will you wake up when the terrorists are at your door? I do not want my tax money to be used in this way. Do the right thing, deport them, send them back to where they came from. Dignity and respect for Americans. By the way, this is because of the current administration. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hello, Chair Vargas, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, and Supervisors. My name is Courtney Baltiski with the YMCA of San Diego County. At the Y, we nurture a healthy spirit, mind, and body so all can thrive. In working with 1 out of every 10 community members in San Diego, we strive to support all with compassion, empathy, and collaboration. We extend this work to our partners at the Casas YMCA in Tijuana who are supporting youth and families as they await an opportunity to cross. The issue before us is an opportunity to address a humanitarian issue innate to our unique and incredible border community. We are grateful for Chairwoman Vargas for bringing this issue forward, and we support this $3 million investment while considering longer-term solutions with our federal government. Thank you to the grassroots organizations, mutual aid organizations, nonprofits, and individuals who are tirelessly working to warmly welcome these individuals to San Diego.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Jonathan Markovitz, and I am a resident of District 4. I'm here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas. The money this measure will provide is crucial as the federal government continues to release hundreds of asylum seekers onto the streets every day. The nonprofit organizations and volunteers that have provided food and shelter and helped people to meet their most basic needs has been incredible, but without county resources, it is unsustainable. We are already in a crisis, and the county has an obligation to address it. The $3 million is not enough to truly do that, but it is a crucial step. We have an obligation to care for people within our community. The people already working like crazy to address this crisis are doing incredibly important work. They need support. This should not be their responsibility alone. It is ours and it is yours. If government serves any purpose at all, it is to meet the most basic needs of the most vulnerable among us. Everyone deserves to be treated with basic human dignity. This is an essential item that can help to do that. I urge the board to pass it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Jeffrey Caramueto. I am the Organizing and Political Director at the ACLU of San Diego and Imperial Counties. The ACLU is a proud member of the San Diego Rapid Response Network, whose motto is, "No one stands alone in our community." We are here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas to allocate $3 million to aid NGOs in providing critical humanitarian assistance to people seeking asylum who are being released into our region by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Since September 13th, more than 12,500 people seeking asylum, including families with children, have been transported by U.S. immigration authorities into SD County and released without food, shelter, or the means to reach their final destinations. This is significant because it's not the first time the federal government has released asylum seekers into our region, nor is it the first time that San Diego's nonprofit sector has shouldered the burden of responsibility to welcome newcomers with the human dignity that every individual deserves. The county's unfunded reliance on NPOs, grassroots groups, and kind-hearted volunteers to serve as San Diego's ad hoc first responders and social safety net during humanitarian emergencies involving migrants is unsustainable and antithetical to good governance. San Diego County is and always will be vibrantly multicultural and interconnected. San Diego County is the hub of international border mega region that thrives because we welcome new arrivals from all over the world. Our county government has a civic and moral obligation to mitigate the impacts of flawed federal immigration policy locally and align itself with San Diegan values. Our local leaders should acknowledge and strive to lessen people's trauma. It's time to end the cycle of unfunded ad hoc solutions. We urge the board to secure $3 million in funds to support an emergency humanitarian infrastructure. The ACLU urges the Board of Supervisors to vote in favor of the board letter. Thank you for your time and careful consideration.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Gloria Rosario Conejo, she, they. I want to thank Chair Vargas for her recommendations and recognize the real grassroots collectives and individual residents stepping up to alleviate this crisis. I'm a District 5 resident in North County, which is heavily impacted with drop-offs, and I wholeheartedly support this item. I come from a migrant farm working family based majorly in Palma Valley and Escondido. My family has lived on this indigenous land, specifically Payamcomlicham, for decades, maybe even centuries before this land was colonized by the Spaniards and later U.S. Anglos. This is where I come from. As detribalized Mexica Americans, a lot of our history is erased. We see these histories of genocidal open-air prisons, high risk of human trafficking, case-based asylum process, and recycling of traumas over and over and over again in our communities. Migration has happened since time immemorial, and asylum is a human right. My family, my friends, my neighbors hope that our Supervisor Jim Desmond shows humanity toward the people of the Sun, including those with roots who run far more deeper and operate this district and do pay taxes contrary to xenophobic myths. Our country can step up with our county and our country can step up with sustainable solutions while also advocating our federal government. I hope to hear that my supervisor is contacting Congress members Darrell Issa, Mike Levin, Scott Peters, and Senator Padilla regarding more federal support. I also hope you all had a spirited and rejuvenating Indigenous Peoples Day. I know I did with my partner and my family.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good morning. My name is Kate Clark. I am the Senior Director of Immigration Services at Jewish Family Service of San Diego. JFS is a core partner of the San Diego Rapid Response Network and operator of the San Diego Rapid Response Network Migrant Shelter. We have welcomed more than 165,000 individuals through our respite shelter in the last 5 years and are proudly supporting our partners on the ground assisting individuals released at transit centers across the county. I am here to urge this board to support item 14 to utilize federal funds to continue our region's welcoming work. As you have heard from many of our colleagues on the ground, supporting individuals released to the streets of San Diego, individuals are arriving in our region with a plan, and it is our experience that 98% are moving on to destinations outside of San Diego. They're being connected with loved ones and points of contact. The critical support these individuals need is really just meeting folks' basic needs: a bottle of water, a quick meal, a place to charge their phone, and be connected with loved ones to help support their onward movement, with only a small fraction needing respite shelter services. This welcoming work has been shouldered by NGOs, grassroots coalitions, and community members on the ground in the absence of government support. Importantly, today, the county has the opportunity to come alongside these groups to continue this work. We've heard from folks on the ground that the most effective and sustainable model to continue this is in public-private partnership, one where the county takes a role in operations and NGOs provide critical services. As I've shared before, together we can continue our region's welcome work with NGOs, and together we can center humanity behind this seemingly political issue. Together we can, but we just need a willing partner from the County of San Diego. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hello, hi, my name is Henok. Good morning, Chair Vargas and supervisors and everyone taking your time to be here. My name is Henok Gitana. I work at Survivor of Social International. I was an asylum seeker myself. I'm here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the border letter introduced by Chair Vargas, which would allocate $3 million to avoid nonprofit, to aid nonprofit in providing critical humanitarian assistance. I was an asylum seeker myself. I work with asylum seekers now. It's so rewarding to work with asylum seekers. I know the hardship asylum seekers facing in their home country while coming to the USA and looking also while they're here. And even when they are here, I feel the pain of asylum seekers. I think the county has a civic and moral obligation to act now like individual citizens doing the right things already. My question for you, Board of Supervisors, do you have the guts to support asylum seekers? Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hey, my name is Steve. Yeah, this whole thing, I say no to this.
This is just a scam. This is called illegal human trafficking. And then you peel that onion back, there's all kind of sex trafficking underneath this. And you shouldn't have the right for 4 people, 5 people to take millions of our dollars and put it to their cause. Anybody that wants to have their own little donation, take it out of your pocket, just like the churches do. God created all the nations, and every nation has a border. And we need our border back. They wouldn't have this problem. These people would still be in their, wherever they live, they'd be fine. There was no problem until you opened the floodgates. And you cannot keep giving free money. This is our money. We work hard for this money. I'm at work right now working. I can't afford any more taxes. You people that want to donate, whatever you want to do, donate your own cause. Get your own money, make your own cause. But it's illegal. This is all illegal human trafficking. So anyway, that's what I got to say. There's so much more to say. But we should put it on a ballot. It has to be for the people to decide, not 4 people, not 5 people, not just the supervisors. This is our money. Our roads suck. You drive down any road in San Diego, this is a third world country. And all the money that we put into our roads, there's no money. There's no money left. So it's got to stop. So anyway, start taking care of our infrastructure, and then I'll go for something else. But right now, no. We can't take care of it. We can't feed the whole world. So anyway, hope you get this message. And anyway, talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
My name is Sarah Kennedy. I'm a resident of District 4, and I'm one of many individual volunteers who've been involved on the ground. I urge this board to vote yes on Chair Vargas's letter and provide the resources that are desperately needed. As you've heard, for a month now, volunteers have showed up with their own resources to provide food, water, medical care at open-air detention centers, to meet asylum seekers at trolley stops where they're released without the resources they need to get to their sponsors, and distributing food and hygiene supplies at the airport where there are people waiting sometimes for days for lack of anywhere else to stay and for lack of funds to get where they need to go. Others have spoken up to say that this is not our problem. I obviously don't agree with that, but I want to emphasize how much this emergency is already impacting the county. People are sleeping on the streets. People experiencing medical emergencies. They're experiencing medical emergencies while held in unsanitary or unsafe conditions. And then there's just this chaos of current policy that is trapping asylum seekers in our county rather than allowing them to reach their existing sponsors, often in other parts of the country, and their court dates where they can make their case for asylum. And most importantly, I believe in human dignity, regardless of language, race, country of origin, or economic resources. And I know so many others in our community believe the same. I urge this board to approve the funds proposed to support the existing response, step up and partner with the many amazing community organizations here in San Diego County who are already doing this work and have been for a month, and stand with your constituents who have already stepped up. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Pronouns, you can't fool me. You guys are so good at propaganda, and it's 3 people deciding for $3.38 million. It's so great. I'm just wondering, if I want to seek asylum from here, could I do it here and have you guys just take me around? I don't know. It's just funny because it's like since 1952, they've known that if they are seeking asylum for fear of persecution at home, they can come here. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to come here, right? When you tell them that, and then when you're like, we're just going to, you know what they do is they set their own people aside and will give you all what you need. It's good. You guys just go there and you cross. And it really isn't about what you guys are talking about. Human trafficking is happening right in front of our eyes, and we're talking about, we don't want human trafficking to happen. These people are being murdered at the border in Tijuana, Nora, by by the drug cartels. And, you know, they don't pay their tax. So it's cool, right? And then we also have men crossing, right, at an astronomical level, which is so great because they can become police and join the military. I mean, what better way to, you know, protect us? And then we even have men crossing with children, and they don't even know anything about the child, right? But that means it's theirs, and that means that he is seeking asylum and needs to be here. It has nothing to do with an invasion of the United States at all. And no wonder why Jim isn't here. It's so funny because it's like, I thought he was standing against it, and he's like, I'm going to stand with my people, and then what? He's not here. And so I don't even know how you guys can vote on this because you don't even have a quorum. But what you probably did is change your rules. So you're like, we only need 3 votes. So good job, you guys. You are good at totally lying to the people and making them believe that they should set aside everything that would be good for the people here and just give it to others because we need to do that. That is equitable, and that's the only way to do it, right? I mean, as long as we pull on the heartstrings of people, they'll believe anything we say, and they won't care that there's an invasion happening right before their very eyes. And I love that the ARPA funds are from the evergreen element. And if we know what evergreen is, right?
Thank you. For the record, that speaker was Audra. When I hear from the next caller.
Hello, my name is Sylvia Miranda. I am a constituent of Supervisor Joel Anderson. I am a teacher in San Isidro at Nicolás Elementary, a block away from Iris Avenue Trolley. I am calling in on my break to urge my supervisor and the rest of the board that is here today to vote yes on item 14 to ensure that we as a county take care of this humanitarian need. It is critical that the county step up and support the work of community organizations. And as a taxpayer, a resident of East County, and someone that works in District 1 in San Isidro, I recognize that this is a regional issue that we can all solve together when we work together for the public good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the final caller.
Hello, my name is Mustafa Azami. I am a resident of District 4. I'm also a community organizer with PANA, with a focus working with our Afghan communities. At the PANA, we are working with refugees through the region. I'm here to urge the Board of Supervisors to vote yes on the board letter introduced by Chair Vargas, which will allocate $3 million to 8 NGOs in providing critical humanitarian assistance to people seeking asylum released onto the streets by the federal government. I urge you to vote yes on this long overdue and critical board letter to ensure we are better equipped to welcome all asylum seekers with dignity and respect in our region. Thank you for your time and consideration. Bye.
Thank you. Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank everyone, all the folks who came here to provide their public comment and to everyone who has been engaged in this process, including the numerous organizations who've been helping on the ground throughout the county. And I do want to reiterate that seeking asylum has been a right in the United States since 1952 under the U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act. And also want to emphasize that asylum seekers are here lawfully within our country and are trying to get to their final destinations and to their sponsors. And so it's really important to emphasize that important information. There's been a lot of misinformation that has been shared today, and so I want to make sure that that is clear. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Supervisor Anderson.
Madam Chair, do you need a second? I'd like to second it. So, my district, as you all know, 2 years ago I brought a letter to this board. I wrote a letter to the president, wrote a letter to the governor, and you all were so supportive because one of the biggest targets was the early release in the middle of the night at transit centers in my district and we couldn't provide for the safety of those asylum seekers or refugees. And while I don't believe it's our responsibility financially, I do believe that it's our responsibility on a human level to ensure that nobody's taken advantage, both as U.S. citizens and as asylum seekers. And so for that reason, while this is not my first choice, I cannot allow it to occur in our communities without our support. And I know that you're working hard to get the Biden administration to pay closer attention. Whatever I can do to assist in doing that, I'd like to support your efforts in it. This is a crisis, and it's not our job to do border policy. Our job is to lift people in our community, to help the homeless, provide streets and infrastructure, and to increase the quality of life. This federal problem, initially, the shocker to me was that so many of the folks being dropped off in my district were coming from Texas, and I was prepared to blame the governor, and found out there was actually the federal government that was flying them over and dropping them off in our community. So while, again, it's not my first choice, I can't sit idly by and allow people to be victimized, not in our country and not those asylum seekers coming into our country. So for that reason, I'm happy to second it.
Sure, thank you so much. First, I just really want to thank all of our nonprofits and community partners that have stepped up and done so much in this really incredibly challenging moment. And I know you have been there every single day on the front lines trying to ensure that people who are coming into our country legally with the asylum and need support and need help to figure out what to do next are not just left stranded by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds at bus stops and at train stations and trolley stops. And you all have just been doing such tremendous work, and it's really, I'm really happy to have the opportunity to vote yes today on a measure that can give you all some partnership and some support to continue doing this work and meeting these incredibly urgent needs in our community. I mean, I think it's very clear we cannot sit here idly by and do nothing when this crisis is unfolding, and I think it's just incredibly vital that we do our part. I do agree that there is lots of strange misinformation circulating on many aspects of everything that we've discussed today, and I don't want to spend too much time calling that out, but I just do want to make sure that we're really clear on what this is about. You know, this is about people who are coming into our country. They've been dropped off by Border Patrol willy-nilly. They need to charge their mobile phone. They need to make a booking or a reservation for where they're going and where they're going to spend the night. They often need translation services. And I know, again, I've spoken many times about why I think it's so important that we as a country welcome immigrants into our community. And certainly, I know that my great-grandparents, fled here, fleeing persecution and certain death as Jews in Ukraine, and I would not be here today if someone had not helped make that possible. So again, this is a very important initiative, and I'm really happy to support it. And I just again want to say thank you to all of the heroes, that many of whom have testified, who have been working so tirelessly. And I thank you, and I see you, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
Thank you, and I appreciate my colleagues and appreciate their heart and their humanitarian concerns. With that, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a 45-minute break for lunch, and we'll come back at 12:45.